If you look now, people don't carry cash in their wallet, or people don't buy magazines. If you see, all of those behaviors which were there in the offline world has totally moved online. So over the last 10 years, I have been trying to build apps, and my aspiration was to always build something for the mass market. My idea was, can I tap into the lives of hundreds of millions of Indian users every day? And over the last 10 years, I have been trying to build a few apps, trying to tackle a few of these needs that these users have. One of the biggest beliefs that I had when I was looking at this whole ecosystem play out was that every behavior that people had in the physical world will move online. And if you see, right, if you look now, people don't carry cash in their wallet, or people don't buy magazines. So if you see, all of those behaviors which were there in the offline world has totally moved online. So I was always thinking about what are the things that haven't really moved online yet, which I as an app builder could tap on. And this was the starting point of how I was thinking about identifying what I should build. Now I'll tell you how exactly I landed on this whole devotion and spirituality as a space. And it has a lot to do with my background. So I come from this village near Kanpur, and my still extended family still stays there. Now, while growing up, I used to spend a lot of time back in my village, and also, right, growing up, our financial state was okay, but not great. Pretty much like how every middle class family is. Now I realized that as a family we were very religious, very spiritual, and in the hindsight, when I look at it, right, I feel that all of those practices gave strength to my family. All of those practices gave us a lot of hope. It gave us willingness to keep moving and whatnot. Now, after getting my education, working at a couple of places, when I looked back, I realized my family was a representation of what most of the India would look like. And I said that, hey, this behavior hasn't really moved online. Can I build an app or a set of apps that will help people practice their belief systems on a daily basis? It gives them access, it gives them all the things that they would need. And that was the starting point of how I started thinking about this whole category, I would say, which was devotion and spirituality. I started with Hinduism because that's the faith that I understand. I have grown up practicing it. But the intent is to go deeper and wider as well. Now, Sri Mandir app came our way primarily because we were trying a few things with respect to what is that offline use case that will move online, which will be a high frequency use case, which will have good retention, which will have habit formation and whatnot. And while experimenting a few of these ideas, Sri Mandir app came our way. We were trying a bunch of things, but we were looking at, hey, what is that offline behavior? For example, offline behavior would be to look at a religious calendar or almanac, or to go and have a lot of religious literature that you would read on various occasions. Can you give all of that? So we were actually trying a bunch of these ideas, but Sri Mandir was an idea that came our way when we started looking around, and we said that, hey, you could see shrines at every important place in people's life. People would set up a shrine in their home, in their small shops, in the car's dashboard, and they would keep praying to their God at multiple times during the day. And realize when people now spend 3 to 4 hours on their phones, can we create a space for them which gives them this immersive experience of praying, of connecting with their God, with their belief system? And that's how this whole journey started, I would say. If you see, right, in India they say that there are these A, B, C, D, which is astrology, Bollywood, cricket, devotion as a key content levers that people have, and hence there's so many apps that have these kind of information floating around. Now, there are many devotional apps, there are many spiritual apps, not just in India, but in the US markets and whatnot. So I looked around and I was trying to tinker as a product builder myself, thinking about what is working in those apps, what is not working on those apps. Now I realized that in India market particularly, the products that were there, they knew that this is a large demand, but they were very short-sighted about it. They did not have the vision about it. So what they did was, they used to bring these users in the name of devotion, show them ads, or throw at them a lot of these transactional propositions. But my belief was, this is a very, very deep behavior. if you would want to solve that behavior, you have to first build trust. So can you build a trust first product which people would love, they'll adore, they would want to spend more time here, they would want to come here daily, and once they trust it, then the whole business part or the business part of the proposition starts. But it's not it's a feel good product first, and then everything else follows. Whereas every other maker was trying to do it in a different way. So we looked at the problem differently, we looked at the behavior differently, and because of that we have whatever user love that we have got, and I'm very, very proud and happy that we have got this kind of user love. I think it is all because of the approach that we had. The first set of users we acquired through Facebook. So we had a daily budget of 2,000 rupees, and we used to just put a simple proposition that, hey, there's an app on which you can play daily now, and we used to use some images of the app screenshot and whatnot, and this is how we used to get the users. The intent was we should show a banner to the user think about this like a banner which has a proposition that this is what the proposition is, and see how many people respond to it, and once they come on the app, what do they do. So the idea was that we have an initial idea, let's show it to people as a proposition and see who is enticed by it, and when they come in, what do they do. So the first 1,000 users, 2,000 users is what we would have gotten from Facebook ads, I would say. Now I personally talked to almost all of them in the first phase. So every single day I used to make 30-40 calls. We also had this in the hamburger, we also had this WhatsApp option where people could send a WhatsApp chat to me which said that, hey, send the suggestions. And the suggestions ended up on my WhatsApp. And I used to ask them that why are they using the app, what are they liking, what are they not liking. And this is how I was able to build some view about what my users could need from a product like this. So cutting it short, used to acquire my users from Facebook, and then I used to either call them or give them an option to connect with me on WhatsApp so that I can chat with them. That's how I actually gathered my first set of insights, and that gave me a good product plan, I would say. Most of the ad platforms that you target your users on, it is very, very important that the user who come on board understand your proposition, hence targeting is important. And in the new world where ad platforms don't or can't leverage a lot of users' information, hence targeting becomes difficult. So I think that's a problem that is going to deepen in the ecosystem, where the way companies used to acquire ads 5 years, acquire users through ads almost 5 years back, 10 years back, is going to change because of a lot of privacy policies or a lot of tracking mechanisms being redundant now. So that's a challenge that which every company would face. We also face it, but the good part is that, let's say, whoever users get activated on the platform, and there's a significant chunk of people that we acquire get activated on the platform, they invite more people back on the app. So because of which, it is a concern, but not that big a concern because of the organic levers that we have on the app. If you're an app builder, you have to think about the phases of app building. The first phase is identifying what the user needs. Now that also includes what the user is going to absolutely love, what he hates, and he or she hates, and what is it that you can build so that they love the app more. So I would say the first phase, and that first phase could last for 1,000 users, 10,000 users, 1,00,000 users, depending on what kind of TAM you have. If you have a really deep market and you're building a very massy product, then I would say, if it is a massy product, I would say a good 30-40k MAU would be a good place for you to get to while you're figuring out what the people would need, and at a decent scale. Or it depends, I would say. But once you cross that particular part where you know that your app is being loved by people, and adding monetization or adding some of these levers would not break the trust, would not break the user love, that's the right time to monetize, I would say. So in my view, the first phase is identify what the users will love. The second phase is identify that are there any things that you can give to the users for which there is propensity to pay, and when they pay, their love or trust on the platform will not break. And I think when you figure that point out is the right time to monetize. So the answer is not really 1,000 users, 10,000 users, 50,000 users. The answer is when you are confident with respect to, hey, now you have found that your users love your app, and what is that proposition which will enhance the trust and not break the trust. So I think if there is an app builder which is looking to acquire people in a very targeted fashion, doesn't have do not want to acquire users who are not their target audience, I think a partner like Game makes all the sense, primarily because you can target better and whatnot. So I think they have a bunch of suits and bunch of tools that you can actually use to be able to target better. If you are a app developer who monetizes their product or their reach through ads, again they are a wonderful partner. So I think if you are looking to acquire a target set of users, you should look at Games. If you are looking to monetize your audience through ads, you should again look at a platform like that, because it will help you bring in contextual ads and whatnot. I have also said this earlier, right? The metric for monetization, and especially in categories where let's say your average order value is low, or your monthly ARPU, or let's say is on a lower side, you would need the users to retain for a longer period to be able to make up your LTV. Now it's different for different kind of platforms, but specifically for this particular kind of platforms, one thing which is very, very important in this journey is to not break trust. Now, if you are monetizing the users for that small AOV, if you are breaking his trust, it's not a good deal. So have that long-term mindset or long game thinking with this user when you're thinking about monetizing them, because if he stays on your platform, then he has to trust this platform for a very prolonged time. And if in your pursuit to monetize this particular user, if you break his trust by either showing him the wrong proposition, wrong ad, or giving him services which he doesn't need, or giving him services which are not fulfilled properly, not giving him proper feedback and whatnot, this is not going to end up as a great taste in his mouth, and he's not going to come back to you. So I think one thing that we almost forget is we feel that, hey, we have this infinite time. I understand we have in markets like India and in propositions like what we are building, there's so many users who want to use it, but the trust is like building a foundation. Brick by brick you have to build it. A user who doesn't like a proposition is going to, it's going to affect your platform adversely. So every user is important, and playing that long game with them is also important. So I think that's the view I would give to anyone who is listening to this. Do not become myopic or short-sighted when you're looking about monetizing your users. Think about what they'll pay for today, for which they'll be very, very happy about, and they would want to come back next month or next week or whenever that frequency is, and would be happy to pay again. So that is what I would, and convert that to a metric, I would say, whatever that metric is. I am personally very, very long on India. I'm a big believer of the potential of India as a market, of Indian app developers, and I feel that the next decade and the decade after that will, and many more decades after that, will belong to Indian entrepreneurs and Indian app developers. My 2 cents would be, do not look for parallels. If there is some Indian need that is very, very large, for which people haven't got either access or that product that they have been waiting for, it's fine if you can't find a parallel of that in the US market or China market. Go build it. If your users are loving your product, if there are many, many users who would be loving your product and they have willingness to pay for it, it's worth taking a bet on. So I would say all the best. The next many decades belong to us as Indian entrepreneurs. Go build some crazy stuff. Thank you.